I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. We are back! With Valentine's Day right around the corner, I thought it might be fun if I told you the stories of some of the romances that happened behind the scenes of The Sound of Music. There were quite a few of them actually. So let's start with the leads. There actually was a bit of a mutual crush going on between Julie and Christopher. At least as much as two people in admittedly rocky marriages could be crushing on each other. They are and have always been very good friends, so I think this was just as much a mutual admiration as it was an outright crush. Julie has credited him as being a big reason why the movie wasn't nearly as sweet as the stage show was, and nearly as sweet as it could have been. Chris, in addition to being blown away when he saw her in My Fair Lady, has said that Julie seduced the world when she made The Sound of Music. I think there was definitely something there between them. The night I met Julie, there was a question asking if Chris had proposed to her, would she have said yes? For the record, her answer was they were both married at the time and she didn't know. Take from that what you will. But Julie wasn't the only one who was crushing on Christopher. It's pretty well known that Charmian had a big crush on him. She was 21 after all, so she was staying at the Bristol Hotel with all the other adults, rather than the Mirabelle with all the other kids. He taught her to drink. In the end, like Julie, it was nothing more than a very good friendship, although Charmian admitted she wished it could have been more. Even the real-life Maria had a bit of a thing for him. They crossed paths a few times after the film, and there was one time where apparently Chris walked into the room and Maria called out, "My husband! My husband!" Chris was quite popular, but how could he not be? He really was very dishy. I mean, I've got a bit of a crush on Sound of Music era him. But while Liesl was crushing on her on-screen father, her on-screen sisters were crushing on her crush. There's a photo in the Sound of Music family scrapbook of Heather and Angela with Daniel Truitt, who played Rolf, with a caption by Angela saying that neither she nor Heather had told him they had a crush on him. In addition to the crushes, there were also plenty of behind-the-scenes romances that led to marriages. Going back to Daniel, he ended up marrying Gabrielle Henning, who was the stand-in for Liesl for at least the wedding scene. In The Sound of Music, the making of America's favourite musical, where most of the information for the rest of this video comes from, it was mentioned that Gabrielle's parents were named Liesl and Rolf, so that's a bit uncanny. Unfortunately, the marriage didn't last. It did, however, last longer than one of the other behind-the-scenes marriages, and that one lasted only a year. And that was the marriage between Alan Callow, who was the son of the assistant director, and Kim Carruth's older sister Francie. Francie also went over to Salzburg with her sister when they were filming there, and she and Alan met on the plane and whirlwind romance. Alan played the Nazi who runs out during the festival and screams, "They're gone!" And he also jumped into the lake after Kimmy fell in while they were filming the rowboat scene, even though Kimmy was eventually carried out by Heather. But as I said, it didn't last. The big marriage though was the one between Saul Chaplin and Betty Levin, who were the producer and script supervisor respectively. And unlike the others, this one did last until Saul died in 1997. And finally, this last one is not so much a crush in the way the others have been, but that was between Julie and Nicholas Hammond. Nicholas was in complete awe and adoration of Julie. He'd seen her in My Fair Lady a couple of years earlier, and not only did he fall in love with her, but he also fell in love with acting. And keep an eye out the next time you watch the film. He's always got this adorable goofy smile on his face, and he's the first one to grab her arm, and it's just adorable. And this is why Friedrich is my favourite of the children. Not because I've met Nicholas. Twice. But that's a video for another day. And that is everything I've got for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if you'd heard any of these stories before. Which one was your favourite? I'm still pretty partial to Nicholas's love for Julie, because as someone who fell in love with her in what I imagine was a very similar way after seeing The Sound of Music, it is so obvious and so relatable. Anyway, what's yours? Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!